And welcome back to my channel. My name is Killian and I do acting videos. Today I'm going to start a new series which will happen every week where we take a musical, play, show, or movie and we go more in depth about their themes, about how characters react, how emotional it can get, and how it plays with the audience's feelings, and etc. Now we're going to talk about a theme. This week we're going to talk about a theme, and it's going to be about Into the Woods. Now, a few months ago, my friend, and if you guys watched the other videos, you know that I was in Into the Woods about a year ago, and one of my friends, about in late October, sent me a link, and she said to watch this video by Sideways, and it was an in-depth moral kind of compass, in-depth moral message of Into the Woods, and it goes by how Disney kind of ruined it, how it's supposed to be an interesting musical, and and I want to kind of go off of his video. I'll put his video in the link in the description below, along with my other channel. So how are we going to do things on this channel before we start? I'm going to do one video on this channel, then one on the political channel, go back and forth, but every single Friday we either get a double upload or we get one uploaded. That's going to be here. So thank you. Anyway, let's get into the Woods. So Into the Woods is a very interesting musical. Obviously, Sideways said that he goes more in depth and at the actual musical and the music in it. So if you really want to look at the music, you go to this video after this one. But I'm going to be talking about the theme. Now, the theme is, well, let's take it at face value, actually. In the first act, all these fairy tales want wishes, and they get them. But they get them kind of with luck, okay? And they get very lucky in the first act. I mean, and they are very selfish. That's kind of what Sideways said in his video. And that's the problem with it. They got super lucky, and I'm going to be the first one to say it, and they were kind of all antagonists. Now, how is that? Okay, so first you have Jack, and he wants to get rich, and he wants to not sell Milky Way. He finds these beans that were given to him by the baker, and the baker lies and says they're magical, but they actually were magical. And he grows a beanstalk, he goes up, he finds treasure, but then he also finds these giants, and he obviously kills the giant, comes down with the treasure, and he's now rich with his mother when they were before dirt poor. And then the baker and the baker's wife want a baby, so they're going to go and they're going to take things from the other main characters, not coincidentally, definitely not, and give it to the witch who wants to become beautiful so she can make the spell and become beautiful again so they can have the baby as well. And there's other plots to the point. You have Rapunzel and her prince, and then you have Cinderella, which is also, Rapunzel is the witch's daughter, and kind of plugs into the main plot, and she hates how the witch is treating her. She runs away to her prince, and then we'll get to how she dies in a few minutes, which is wild. You have other plots like Cinderella, and then obviously the baker and the baker's wife need to get her shoes, that also wants a prince. Then she goes to the ball, which is Cinderella's prince, and she tries to fall in love with him, but does she really? Not really. I don't know. And then the Cinderella's prince decides, yeah, I'm in love with her, and then they all live happily ever after. That's how most musicals, most shows, most movies end up. Happily ever after. But then you notice how I say that's only the first act. In the second act, everything gets worse. Way worse. You know how Jack killed the giant? Well, the giant's wife is back, and she wants to kill everything. She wants to revenge her husband's death, and she goes on a rampage. She destroys towns. She destroys basically the entire kingdom, and also kills off a lot of the main characters. The first one killed, I believe, is Rapunzel. She's crying because not only has she lost her prince, who is also in love with another woman, of course, obviously, and then her mom is terrible to her, and then she gets smushed to smithereens, and that's the first death. And then Jack's mom dies, and then the witch dies. The baker's wife cheats on her husband, which is wild, who already has a baby, and then dies. And then they kill the giant very quickly, and then they live happily ever after. They don't really, though. And that's what I want to get into this video. So, they say they live happily ever after, but what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4 deaths of the main characters. And then, I mean, that's not even counting for Rapunzel's prince, who is off doing who knows what, or the stepsisters and the stepmother knowing who knows what. They basically disappear halfway through the second act. But isn't that interesting? How it isn't really a happy ending. Yes, they killed the giant, but not after they made many, many mistakes. They started blaming each other in one of the best music numbers, Your Fault, and then they kill it. And then they kill the giant, and then they go into another great musical number, No One Is Alone. And isn't that awesome how that happens? Is that they're all screaming at each other, and then they go kill the giant, and they're all happy, right? But how is it a happy ending? I mean, all of the kingdom is destroyed, and 6 of the main characters died, and most of them loved by others. Most of them loved by somebody, right? Let's take for a grain of salt, the Rapunzel's prince comes back, and, you know, he's probably still in love with Rapunzel, because nobody's love really dies, obviously. That's a whole thing that I can get into. That's not even about theater. But he comes back, and then, oh yeah, his wife and the person who has 2 babies with him is dead. What? You don't have a wife anymore, Baker. She died. He doesn't even know that she had an affair with him, which is completely wild in its own. Cinderella, she hates her prince by the end of the show, so she goes and lives with the baker. And all of that. All of their past relationships have either died or gone to complete crap. Especially Cinderella. She goes through the ringer in the second act. And that's the best part, is they don't really fix anything. Well, they can't, because people are dead. And that's the best part. You can go on and on about how, oh yeah, they slayed the giant though, and everything's happy now. Well, there's just the next adventure, because after every single time, every single act, it's Cinderella says, I wish. There could have very easily been a third act where the rest of the main characters died. And that's the thing. They were all selfish in the first act. They all didn't get the knowledge, and then they all die in the second act. Oh yeah, and the narrator dies after somehow, some way. The narrator dies. Isn't that wild how even the narrator dies? It's a basic bloodbath in the second half. But that's the message that Sondheim wanted to get across. I mean, I believe that his awesome writing, one of the best pieces he's ever made, Into the Woods, that's his message. I mean, people might not get that at face value, obviously, because, again, it's supposed to be about fairy tales and about magic and whatever and love, but when it comes down to it, it's a very core message, especially in the second act. Now, people complain, and then the junior version just cuts out the entirety of the second half, which I think is stupid. And why would you even have a junior version then? Why would you have a junior version if it cuts out the main point they're trying to make? They all have a very, very, very lucky start in the first half. And then it all goes to crap in the second act, where they have to actually work together. And once they work together, that's when they figure out their problem and they fix their problem. That's the main message, is that you, first off, nothing good lasts forever. And then secondly, you have to work together. That is the message of not only the second act, but the entirety of the musical. The whole reason why he has a first act is to show the many mistakes that they made, which come back to bite them in the butt in the second act. And that's the message that gets across. That's incredible. I mean, and again, Sideways video is perfect. It actually goes more deeper into the music and stuff, and the music meaning that I really don't have the qualifications for to talk about. Because, again, even though I've been in musicals, obviously, and stuff, but I'm not the greatest singer in the world. I think I'm a decent singer, but not the greatest. Anyway, but that's the major point. That's the theme, is that nothing good ever lasts forever. All good things must come to an end. That's the point. And now this gets me into a bigger point, in that musicals, plays, shows, movies, they all don't need to have a happy ending. That's what I want to get with this. Not everything needs to be sunshine and rainbows, because that's not the real world. You're going to have problems you're going to face, and some problems might come and they might not go away. They might end up worse. And that's the thing with almost everything in your life. Life, a very great thing, most valuable thing in the entire universe, but it also has a ending. You die. Everybody dies, so it's not really happily ever after, because there's no such thing as a happily ever after. I mean, 100 years after the story takes place, every single character is going to be dead. Not only that, but everybody in their kingdom is going to be dead no matter what. So there's not necessarily a good reason why to have a happy ending. Now, there is a good reason, actually. Audience would love every single one to be a happy ending. But that doesn't get you emotional because of how obvious it is. Like 95% of the plays, musicals, movies, whatever, 95% of shows end up with a happy ending. But those 5%, Into the Woods, for example, Hamilton, Star Wars, the prequels, all have not terrible, but all have emotional endings, and that's what you want to have in an audience. You want the audience to have emotion, with either laughs or cries is the basic too. And that's what these have to get. And it also shows a message that, again, not everything good will stay. And that's what you need to get. Now, I'm not saying every single show has to be sad. No. Most shows should be happy ending. But some shows, the shows that are great, need to have a sad ending. Because it gets along with not only the audience, but it shows a message. And the message has already been spoke before. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.